Hello, I'm here with Jason from Sennheiser. Let's talk a little about workplaces. We've got users who want everything to be simple, easy, intuitive, quick to install. It's almost like they want building blocks. How's Sennheiser kind of meeting this demand and expectation from users now?
It's a great question, H. And I think it comes down to what does scaling mean?
Yeah.
I guess scaling is, consideration of how do I scale in from, a larger space down to a smaller space, but then how do I scale that in terms of quantity of that same class of environment scattered across a campus, for instance. So scale both in terms of the product offering, being able to cater to a smaller to a larger environment, but as well as how does that deploy across a greater ecosystem of landscape. Let's say a university campus or a corporate environment that's scattered across multiple floors or buildings, for instance, and then be able to manage and monitor those. And so the product mix is really designed to do both those. Not only to cater to the various size of environments that these pieces of equipment need to go into, but also to be able to deploy en masse in similar configurations, but across a greater environment.
Yeah, you mentioned ecosystems, right? And continuing with the theme of building blocks, we know that, just something as simple as an audio chain's got a microphone, an amplifier, a DSP, right? A lot of different pieces need to come together to create an ecosystem. What is Sennheiser doing to make sure that everyone plays well together?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I guess we recognize what we do well in terms of that signal chain, but we are totally aware that we are not the complete end-to-end solution. So we have a reliance on building alliances and partnerships with other like-minded manufacturers that will sort of help support that end-to-end solution for an end customer, but also not force somebody to be tied into a certain platform. And so for us, the responsibility is deepening the integration at an engineering level with those other manufacturers to ensure that when the choice is made to use a Sennheiser product with a Q-SYS, with a Lightware, with a Crestron product or an Extron, that there is an expected standard of implementation, but also reduce the need to make it difficult to deploy in those instances as well. So to speed up that process and sort of guarantee an acceptable level of standard when we're doing that. So that's great on a global level, but we need to execute that at ground level here. And so you'll see that through our process here at Integrate is that the alliance partnerships are well and truly established. It's a real dialogue between the teams down on the ground here in Australia and New Zealand as well with those other manufacturers as well.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that, right? Like these alliances, these partnerships, they're going to make integration easier, right? That demand for scaling up and scaling down is going to make hardware more standardized, right? And from my perspective, software becomes the big differentiator, right? That's what's going to set you apart from everybody. Now, taking into account the fact that you do have a competitive advantage, hardware is always going to be around. But what are you guys doing on the software side?
Yeah, so from the software perspective, that will be a side of what we do that completely evolves and continues to evolve. And the roadmap is quite strong from that front. And it involves, looking at security. How do we make our products more secure in those environments? But also, how do we assist in that planning process? So everything from the conception of a project, understanding using the software tools like the Room Planner to help support, what hardware configurations I may need to best support this environment, as well as the new wireless planner tool that we help to build, uses a wireless wizard to understand how do I build my build of materials for a complex wireless system, through to control cockpit, and the mobile connect manager to help manage and monitor those devices once they're deployed. Software is a key part of what we do, and it's really the glue that binds all the solutions together. The other thing is, how do our APIs and interfaces into our product work with our alliance partners? Can we simplify that process? Can we embed ourselves to make it simpler to use with a Q-SYS or a Crestron or an Extron or Lumen's product or Lightware product?
Jason, thank you so much for your time.
No problem, H. Thanks for having me.